one of my first music videos that I made, I went to Iceland. I'm a little bit insane, but
Okay.
I did a Kickstarter for it. So I raised $3,000 on a Kickstarter.
Okay.
And then there was another $2,000 in the budget I saved and paid myself. So it was a total of $5,000, which in my opinion is like really not a lot for what I was able to do.
So that song has 300,000 plus streams.
This song that I did last year called I'm in Love with Machine Gun Kelly. That one I promoted for the longest I've ever done. I literally spent like 6 months at least just constantly doing, because I realized that like what we're creating deserves that. And like who gives a shit if people think you're annoying? Just fucking unfollow. Like
Right.
We are trying to get heard.
All right, so you were mentioning Machine Gun Kelly song.
Like he's like top of my list in terms of dream artists
Yeah.
to work with. So I was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna look like insane, but
Yeah.
we're gonna do it. And he replied to it on Twitter, and now like fell on the floor. I was like, oh my god. He actually answered me back. It was crazy, and he said,
This is They're Good at That Shit, where I talk to musicians about the things that they're really good at, get their tips and their advice. My guest today has hundreds of thousands of views on YouTube. Her video content is amazing. She also has hundreds of thousands of Spotify streams. Juliette Irons, thank you so much for joining me today. How are you?
thank you for having me. Way to make me feel cool.
Oh, you are cool. You are so cool.
Thank you so much. I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Oh, I can't complain. I have you here, so it's all good.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so
Cool.
we're doing all right. All right, so let's get into it. Your music videos, first of all, I want to start with those because they're amazing.
Thank you so much.
They look really good, really professional, really clean. Love the concepts, everything about them, really good. So I'm going to start here because somebody asked me personally this question the other day, and so I'm curious to hear your answer to this question. How do you choose which songs to make videos for?
Okay, good question. First of all, thank you for saying that. I'm glad that you like them. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
How do I choose? It's really kind of like certain songs will. I mean, if I had it my way, I would do a video for every single song.
Sure.
If we had unlimited money.
Right.
Because I always have a visual with music. But there's ones that I just can't ignore the inspiration that comes into my head when I'm creating it or whatever. And it's like, okay, that idea needs to be made. It's like a feeling, I think, where I'm like, I have to make that. Like one of my first music videos that I made, I went to Iceland. I'm a little bit insane, but
Okay.
I had this feeling because the song is called Lighthouse, and it's about feeling isolated and like, mental health stuff, depression and all of that. And like, I just had this idea, I need to go somewhere in the world that can like portray that visually. And I just thought of Iceland. I'd always wanted to go, and I knew it's gonna be the most cinematic place on the planet. And I was just like, I have to go. As I hear myself saying this, I'm like, I am a lunatic.
No, that's amazing. That's
But
awesome.
it's just like a feeling like that where I'm like, okay, I have to do that. Or like, a different visual where it's like, oh, this idea is so exciting to try to create that I have to do it. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, no, totally.
Yeah.
So let's rewind. Iceland.
Yeah.
So, okay, you make the song Lighthouse,
Yeah.
and you're like, okay, I need to represent this visually. I need to go to Iceland. So talk about, okay, getting to Iceland and how did that whole process go?
Yeah. Okay, so first of all, I did a Kickstarter for it because I
Okay.
knew I was going to need to pay a cinematographer, get Airbnb, and my own flights and stuff. So I raised $3,000 on a Kickstarter.
Okay.
And then there was another $2,000 in the budget I saved and paid myself. So it was a total of $5,000, which in my opinion is like really not a lot for what I was able to do.
No.
Yeah, but it was just me and a cinematographer. So I was like, I think the only way I can do this is if I just go and I meet somebody there and we create it, and because that's the only way without paying a bunch of people to come and then where they're gonna stay in the food and like all, and then it,
Right.
So I looked up cinematographers in Iceland. I was looking on Instagram, whatever, and I found this one guy, and I was like, oh my god, everybody needs to check out his stuff. His name is Ozo.
Okay.
And it's like the most, I don't know if I pronounced it right, hopefully I did. It's the most beautiful, like, he basically like chases the Northern Lights for a living and like films them with his
Okay.
drones and stuff.
Wow.
So when I saw him, I had messaged a few other people, but when I saw him, I was like, has to be him. And I messaged him like over and over again. And then he finally answered me and was like, yeah, I'll do it. And so I just sort of made a plan where I like would get on the plane, go to an Airbnb. He would pick me up the next day. We'd drive like middle of the night into these like icebergs and stuff. And then we'd stay in Airbnbs for like 2 nights, different places in Iceland. And then I'd go back. So it was a very short trip. It was like 4 days total.
4 days.
Yeah. We filmed for 3 of them. And yeah.
So you got flights. You were able to pay him.
Yeah.
And eat and all that for $5,000.
Yes. Because I basically just did my own makeup, did my own hair and makeup. Because it was just like, I put on a hat with a giant coat and was like, I'm going to run around in Iceland. And then, yeah, we did meals. So the thing is, we shared our Airbnb. He was kind of like, I understand like indie budget, like we could share a room and that will help you if you're comfortable with that. And I was like, I mean, yeah, I knew he was married and had kids and it wasn't going to be weird. Yeah. But I definitely was taking a chance. This is like a complete stranger. You know, totally. As I was on the plane, I was like, is he going to murder me? but he was the most incredible, inspiring, like angel of a human. When I met him, I was like, this is fate. Like, he's just so cool. And he brought my dream to life. And so we shared a room and that made it easier. There's like 2 beds in 1 room type thing. Yeah. Well, like those like kind of like lower budget Airbnbs that have like a public bathroom, like kind of like a hostel-y situation. Yeah. So it wasn't that expensive. And then meals, flights, and so I did it for under $5,000. I look back, I'm like, that's actually insane. But
that is very insane.
Yeah.
I think there's several lessons there. I always try to look for the lessons and the nuggets. But I mean, number one, I think when you have an idea, this is something I talk about too with the guy I shoot a lot of videos with, is dude Roberto Horns, really, amazing with video content as well. But we say, okay, what's the idea and how can we do it for the budget we have? We may not be able to do something super extravagant, but there's probably a way we can pull this off. Yeah. If we really think about it and get creative, sometimes you got to get creative.
For sure.
But I think sometimes people let budget freeze them and just stop ideas from even happening.
Totally.
Instead of seeing like, okay, how can I get creative to make this happen?
That's such a good point.
And the fact that you did that with $5,000 and went to Iceland, no less, is amazing, honestly.
Thank you. Yeah. I look back and I'm like, that is one of my favorite things I've ever done. Best decisions I've ever made in my life. Like, I'll never forget that trip. And so I'm trying to channel that energy again now. But you're right about the budget thing, because what I've learned is that like lack of budget creates, what's the word I'm trying to think of it? It creates necessity.
It's creativity.
Yes.
Necessity spawns creativity.
There we go. Exactly. Yeah. Like, me not being able to pay all these people to do stuff has made me force myself to learn how to edit, how to color grade, how to direct, how to produce. Like, I'm sure most artists, they relate to that, and then, but then it makes you be able to do stuff on a lower budget, because I'm not paying anyone to do the post stuff. I'm just paying them to shoot, and then I do everything. And I'm also like insane though, but
insane how?
Yeah. What?
Insane how?
Insane how? I just feel like I am a control freak and I go like way too hard. Like it's probably, I need to tone it down a little because I do everything and then I'm just like alone in a room all the time. Okay. So my new thing is like collaboration is key, and I'm gonna start to do that more and loosen the grip. Okay. But it definitely makes you be able to do things on a smaller budget when you're gonna take on a lot of it. You can like, once you learn, okay, I made that for this amount. Okay, now I can do another idea, and it will be, I can afford it, type thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to talk to you about your process, because you mentioned you edit and you color grade and all of that. Yeah. So with a video like, what's it called? Press Rewind? Yes. Yeah. So I saw that's another amazing video.
Thank you so much.
And has 100,000 plus views on YouTube. So when you're approaching a video like that, we already talked about how you choose. So you get an idea, I guess, that you can't ignore. Yeah. So then you decide to do that video. So then kind of what comes next, or what came next in the process of making that video in particular?
Totally, yeah. First of all, thank you. I'm glad you like that one. Yeah. That one is like my child.
Yes.
Yeah, what came first for that was like, I knew that one was going to be a bigger budget. So I did raise some funds for that too. Okay. And then the rest was like savings and stuff like that. And then also my dad stepped in for that one. Oh, nice. He's like my biggest fan. Yeah. And he's very supportive, and he was like, I know that you might need some help with this, and like, I will help you bring it to life. Nice. And I was like, okay, well then we're going to make the money back, and I'm going to pay you back one day. Like, I got to figure that out. Yeah. But yeah, so that's how I was able to do that, because I knew it was going to take more, because we were going to have to go to a school. Okay. So I wasn't going to be able to like shoestring that one as much. So once I knew that I could do that, then it was calling schools. Because also, like, I had to find a school that could do it for, like, maybe $1,000 a day, which is, like, none of them said yes. Or they were just like, no, we don't want it. I called, like, 60 schools.
Wow.
And then finally I got one, and I was like, okay.
Wow. You called 60 schools. This is amazing. I love this because, I mean, it really shows the kind of hustle that is behind, you know, this finished product, because we can see the finished product and go, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
But to know the hustle that went behind it and that it paid off, because it got a lot of views, and it's, you know, it's doing really well, and it looks really good, and it's amazing.
Thank you.
So.
I mean, I love that song. I mean, that one I kind of felt like I had this feeling, oh, this idea is going to be understood by people because I'm recreating the icons of the 2000 that like inspired me. So I thought, oh, like there's a chance people might want to share this, or it could do well. And that was my motivation for that. What I'm learning now is like, I don't think that works. Like trying to go viral doesn't work. I'm really proud of that. I'm so glad I made it. But my move now is like, just say the truth.
Yeah.
And people probably resonate with it more. Yeah. But I do love that project, and it took a lot of work. I like did all the wardrobe. I like went out. I tried to do it like on a budget still. So I went on Amazon and got all the like little details, and like went to like stores on Hollywood Boulevard to get like, you know, the things that to recreate the wardrobe for that.
Yeah, because for people that don't know, you basically recreated looks from music videos and things like that from iconic, you know, 2000 songs.
Yeah.
Artists,
all my favorites.
So like Britney Spears was in there, Eminem in there. Yeah.
Linkin Park.
Yes.
Chester. Yeah. Yes. And it was a very fun project for me to do too. And I kind of needed something to be obsessed with because life was like falling apart at that point. So I was like, I'm going to do this because I'm going to be obsessed with it. And I'm very fortunate that I was able to bring something like that to life. My DP also, his name is Roger, Art LA, shout out. He's so amazing. And he's like one of the big reasons why I'm able to make videos like to that scale, because he's been with me like since the beginning, pretty much done every single video other than the Iceland one. Yeah. And he just believes in me, and he gives me like the ability to do this, and he'll be like, I will work with you like in your budget, and he gives me all the footage after, lets me edit it. Nice. And like, you know, so he's a big reason why I'm able to do it too. He's so good at what he does. Yeah. And like, I probably wouldn't be able to afford it if he wasn't like helping me by being like, let's do this together, you know? Nice. He's giving me like a good rate. Yeah. And a indie artist rate. Cause he also works on like huge, like high-end production stuff where he's getting paid like way more than I can afford. Okay. So yeah, that's a big thing for sure. Yeah, cool. I mean, part of it is finding those people that will rock with you, they believe with you, and they'll help you out when you may not have the money to pay them what they're worth. Exactly. But they'll still rock with you. Yes, because the dream is, you know, you all come up together, and then eventually you can just be like, what's your rate? Yeah. I have the money now. Yeah. Like, let's pay you back. Yeah. You know? Okay, so you called 60 schools. Yeah. To find a school, and then what happened? After that, so we secured the school. I had to get a permit for that. Oh, really? Yeah, so that was a whole like logistics thing. Oh, wow. But, you know, just a lot of emailing. That's like not the fun part, but it's like, I don't have a producer, so I'm just like doing all that. And so you had to email like the city or the county or something or whatever. They pointed me in that direction. I forget now because it's a year and a half ago, but it's some kind of like California high schools commission, blah, blah, blah thing. And so you get that permit. And then from there, it was the wardrobe, which I did every day for like a month, just all the different details. Wow. And then the shot listing and scheduling was the craziest I've ever had to do for that. Because we had to fit it into 2 days because I couldn't pay for more than 2 days. So I had to do 4 looks per day, 4 scene setups per day. And so I had to make sure that all that I was caring about was just like sitting in the chair and getting ready for the next thing. Because normally I'm directing, telling everybody, and like organizing, but there's no way I could do that and be in the characters and perform. So I had to hire people to like do all of the lighting and assist that, so that by the time I got into the scene, it's just we go and we shoot it. Yeah. Because then I'm back in makeup for another hour, and then so it was like a whole like orchestration of stuff. So I had to set all that up and have meetings with those people and talk to them. It was really, you're reminding me now that I was like fully consumed by this project all summer until we shot it. And then the day of the shoot, I had a full panic attack because I was just like, what am I doing? I've spent so much money. And like, what am I doing? You know?
Yeah.
It was just pressure. Even though it's
Yeah.
just me, it's not like I have a manager or a label that's like counting on me. It's just me. But I put the pressure on myself and then
I
lose my
understand.
mind. But it worked out. We did it.
Yeah.
It worked out.
No, I understand totally. Like you can definitely put that pressure on yourself.
I'm really working on that one. It's hard for me. But yeah.
Okay, so you get the team, you get the school, you do the whole shoot. How was it like, just on set after you had your panic attack and you came, and you actually decided, okay, let's do it. How was like the actual shooting of it?
The actual shooting of it was incredible. It was definitely like one of my favorite experiences also. Like just the magic of it all coming together in the moment. Like my makeup artist, she's incredible. She like recreated all the looks like to the T.
Yeah.
Like the Britney like makeup and everything.
Yeah.
I had all the pictures laid out so she could like go from there and get inspired. But like, you walk into the scene with the outfit and the makeup, the lighting is right, and there's like the lockers behind me and stuff, and like my DP is killing it, and then you look in the monitor and it's just like magic. Like it all came together. And we only had to, every time it's just so quick. You put so much time into setting up the scene, and then you shoot it like 3 times and we're good.
Yeah.
Thankfully, because everybody's really clicked in.
Right.
And like I was like rehearsing what I was gonna do, so I knew what to do, and you just go. And then you go into the next one. It's like very fast paced, but it's my favorite thing in the world to to be in that energy. So
I think one important thing you were talking about is basically just the preparation, having the preparation down so that when you get to the moment, you can just execute.
Totally. Yeah. Like I feel like I rehearse like everything that I do so that I can be as like close to perfect as I can. It's like that perfectionism thing, you know?
Sure.
Like the more that you rehearse for the shoot, then the less time you're going to spend messing it up and having to like redo. Right. So I knew I had to do that for this one because it was like, we only have 2 hours for each setup.
Wow.
And I only have maybe 30 minutes actually in the scene or whatever. Like it was just, the organization was crazy, but yeah.
How do you, because sometimes it's difficult to be in the scene, but then also making sure the lighting is right and stuff like that. Like, how do you kind of manage that?
That's true. Normally, like when it's a less complicated thing, I will be really like behind the camera looking and being like, no, like we need to change that. But for this one, I had to just trust them. And also though, my lighting guy, his name is Mike, and he works with Roger a lot on a lot of different projects. They have like a magic combination. So I didn't even have to, like every time they were like, we're going to do blue for this, and it wasn't maybe something I was thinking of, I would see and be like, that is so dope. Like I didn't have to change anything. They were so good at their job. It was like seamless. All I had to worry about was not having a meltdown. Honestly, it perfectly came together. It was weird.
Good.
I was lucky with that.
Yeah.
And they're just good at their jobs.
Yeah. Sometimes it works out like that.
Yeah.
So how did you get into editing? Because you mentioned that you edit in color grade, which coloring is a whole other thing that I feel like not a lot of people really know much about, or not a lot of musicians, especially, I feel like really dive into. So how did you kind of get into those things?
Yeah, totally. So I started editing a long time ago, probably I would say like 2010. What year is it? Like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Damn. Because I'm a dancer too. That's kind of what I did first before music.
Okay.
And I would make dance videos to promote myself. And so I had to learn. It was like, again, like necessity. Like I just had to be like, let me use this fucking, can I swear on this?
Yeah. The name of the podcast is They're Good at That Shit.
Oh yeah, you're right. Oh my God.
You can say whatever you want.
I swear every other word. So I'm like,
no, I do too. So hence the name of the podcast.
You're right. I can't even put that together. Oh my God. Okay.
All good.
Cool. Yeah. So I was like probably using you remember those flip cams? Did you have one of those things?
The flip cam.
It's like what was it? Is that what it's called? It's like the little like vertical thing from 2008, 2009.
Okay.
I don't know. Anyway, I would like film myself on the street dancing and then put on my laptop and like edit on iMovie or whatever the basic thing was. So I started with that, but then as I needed to do more like promotional dance videos, I got inspired to just start making them better. And so I would go on YouTube tutorials, and I started with Premiere Pro, which is what I use now. And over 10 years of making dance visuals, choreography videos, and then eventually music videos, you just learned so much. And I started editing for other people too as a side gig thing. So Yeah, it became a huge passion for me, especially just with my own stuff.
Yeah.
Because having that control to make the emotional feeling stuff like sync up with the music, especially with dance and like I also can be a control freak and get obsessed and like make sure I have the right angles and like it's a
Okay.
whole thing. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you just basically from doing your dance videos, you kind of picked up a lot of editing.
Yeah, and YouTube tutorials for sure. That was a big thing.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel like I've learned like everything on YouTube tutorials.
Oh, yeah.
Like guitar and like everything.
Yeah.
You just look up
YouTube is
how do
amazing.
I speed ramp, slow motion, blah, and then
Yeah.
someone's talking about how to do it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Awesome. And then with the color grading, kind of where did that come from?
Yeah, so that is more recent with the more like higher production music videos that I've been doing. It just again it was like rather than paying someone to do it, since I already edit and I know these programs, like I might as well learn. And I would say that I'm pretty advanced with editing. Color grading, I would say I'm more like medium-ish. I don't really know what I'm doing with that, but it's like a feeling. You just look and you kind of know what tones you want, and that again was YouTube tutorials. I just knew that DaVinci was like a good program that everybody talked about. Download that, go on YouTube. How do I blah blah blah? And then again with I've now been color grading for probably since like Lighthouse, like the Iceland video was the first thing I color graded.
Nice.
So it's been 6 years.
Okay.
And you just learn. You just keep doing it, and then you figure it out.
Yeah, I did a episode with Roberto Horns, who I was talking about earlier, and he was kind of talking about that, where you just kind of learn everything you can, and then you don't have to rely on other people to do things.
Yeah.
And then you have that creative control as well to kind of make
Exactly.
things look how you want them to look.
Exactly. And for me, like when I'm coming up with a music video or visual, like it's already edited in my head to the music. So that way I know shot listing, I know what I need to get. And it helps with coming up with the idea when you know how you're going to edit it.
Yeah.
So,
Awesome.
yeah.
All right, cool. So okay, let's talk about this. So once you've shot the video, you've edited it, is there anything promotion-wise that you did with those videos in particular? Like I said, that one we were just talking about has over 100,000 views. So is there anything in particular you did to kind of help promote it, help push it out there?
Yeah, for sure. So I definitely have been learning more about marketing and YouTube ads, Facebook ads, meta ads, all that stuff and how it can help. I don't feel like I've really cracked the code on that yet because I think it's complicated to know what people are going to respond to. Like you could push something out, but are they gonna like want to comment? You know, you're not gonna like. I don't want to like buy fake stuff, right?
Yeah,
so it's like you want real people to be interacting.
Sure.
So I'm still figuring it out, but I definitely did a lot of YouTube ads, and so that helped because it's pushing it to people that wouldn't see it, right?
Yep.
It did a little bit on its own, but then I pushed it with ads. But I think I'm realizing now that it's almost like we have to try to make things that do well on their own more so than things that you have to like push. But I don't know. I'm still in the process of really figuring out how it works. How does something go viral? How does it? How do people? Because it's kind of up to them, right?
Right.
We don't know what they're gonna like. But with that one, I did use YouTube ads. Meta ads for social media and Spotify also. Meta ads for Spotify.
Okay.
So that's kind of all I'm doing right now.
Okay.
Like with no idea what I'm doing, just throwing money, being like, I don't know what I'm doing, $5 a day, but like, you know, I'm also going on YouTube for that. How to run ads for Spotify.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, I mean, but I think one of the lessons there is that if you don't know the answer, you can find the answer somewhere and like kind of looking for those resources and trying to figure out, you know, kind of what's the best thing for you to do where you are, you know?
Totally. And what I've learned too, I've heard other artists talk about this, is like people need to, especially indie artists, need to understand that most things that you see that are doing well have money behind them. Your song and video can be the best thing ever, but people won't see it unless you push it. And a lot of these artists that we love have $1 million budgets, and we can't compare. We can't be like, oh, like I'm so small. Like, you just don't have $1 million. That's all. Maybe hopefully one day you will. Like, we'll see. You know.
Right.
Yeah,
but another thing you touched on, you were talking about you have to push it. I think too, another thing is that we as artists sometimes we will make one Instagram post about our new video or whatever, and then think that that's enough, or think, oh well, I already posted about it and nobody
Yes.
whatever.
Yep.
Like you got to keep, you got to keep hammering that
No,
stuff. You know.
totally. Yes. I feel like we all kind of are worried we're going to be like annoying or too much. But I realized this year with like that video, like with Press Rewind, I spent so much time and effort and money on it. I was like, there's no way I'm doing one post. Luckily, I had all these different characters too and things. So I posted like so many things about it and it went on. Or like this song that I did last year called I'm in Love with Machine Gun Kelly.
Which I was
One
going
of
to
my
talk to you about.
faves.
So yes,
That one I promoted for the longest I've ever done. I literally spent like 6 months at least just constantly doing, because I realized that like what we're creating deserves that. And like, who gives a shit if people think you're annoying? Just fucking unfollow. Like,
Right.
we are trying to get heard. So you just have to do it. But I have that same feeling too, where I'm like, is 3 too many? But then you
Yeah.
have to be like, shut up and fucking post it. Do you want new listeners or not?
Yes, right.
So you just got to do it. You got to do it. We're all cringing at ourselves.
Yes.
I think that's the secret. Yeah.
Yeah, but you got to do it. I've had people, when I've posted something months later after something came out, they'd be like, "Oh man, this new song is great." I'm like, "What do you mean new? It's been out." But the thing is people, they may not see it the first couple times. People may be like, I know I've been at work or whatever, and maybe a friend has a song that I have intentions of listening to, but I'm at work when I see the post, so I can't look in that moment, or maybe I'm busy doing whatever at that moment, and I can't listen, I can't fully give my attention to consuming that piece of content, even though I may have intentions of doing so. So, sometimes people are the same way. They don't see, or they might see it, but they may not be able to consume it. So you got to keep putting it out there, and hope to catch people,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's so true. And I feel like I'm trying to remember now that it's all about finding new people, because anybody who's like right now, I just feel like people who are interacting with my music, it's mostly people I already know, maybe people who've already heard things that are sticking around, but you want to get new people. So like, who fucking cares if the song is a year old? Like, it's still great.
Yeah.
I'm still running ads on I just started again trying to push the MGK song, because I'm like, I fucking love the song.
Nice.
People need to hear it,
Nice.
but it is a year old. Like, but it's not a year old to that person who scrolled and they're like, hey.
Right, exactly.
So, yeah.
And you also mentioned that you had, different characters in that video. So yeah, using those different characters for different posts and things like that. I think it's about, getting creative and just making the content look different, feel different too. So then you can keep pushing that same song.
That's the key. Yeah. I was talking with someone the other day about strategies and how people are thinking when they go and shoot something. They're thinking of short form first. So they're like, let's get all these different angles, different parts of the song, to think of like 30 15-second clips. Whereas my brain's usually like thinking of a storyline and a whole like YouTube size like full music video, because that's my passion. But I'm realizing I have to at least just do both. Like, shoot it the vertical way, and then shoot it like the YouTube way, and then you can have both.
Yeah.
Because you have to have those multiple posts.
Yeah.
If you really want to push the song.
Yeah.
I'm realizing. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So you were mentioning Machine Gun Kelly song. I'm in love with Machine Gun Kelly. How did that song come about, first of all?
Totally. It's a funny story. Well, okay, so first of all, he's my biggest inspiration.
Okay.
I am like fully obsessed. Like, that's obvious.
Yeah.
But I actually discovered his music like later on, which I hate that. Like, when you discover an artist and you're like, why has this not been in my life for my whole life? But timing is everything, and like, you find it when you need it,
Sure.
So I discovered him when his like pop punk stuff started coming out with like Tickets to My Downfall and all of that. And I was like, oh my God, I love this so much.
Yeah.
And then I went back into his discography, started diving deeper into the rap. And then I was like, oh my God, I love this even more. Like, and he just became my biggest inspiration artistically because of the evolution of like his path and how he's developed as an artist and stuck to his vision like 100%, no boundaries. And then from there, when his documentary came out, I learned about like his story as a person, and artists who come from nothing and build, and it takes them like years to get there. It's like, those are the people that like really truly make a difference in my life, in my path as an artist. Cause I'm like, I've been grinding for 16 years in LA already, and I'm like, I feel like I'm at the beginning. So seeing someone who has that much success and where they came from and how long it took, it's like that's who I want to like think of when I'm grinding. So when I saw his documentary, I was like mind blown by this person. And also I find him fascinating because in pop culture, he's very like polarizing and people love to hate or they love him. And it's like someone who deals with all of that, I don't know how they are able to like manage it like that. I feel like that would be really hard, but it's also like fascinating. So long story short, I could talk about it all day.
Yeah, I see.
Long story short, once I saw the documentary, I actually got like a bad sinus infection and had this horrible fever. And you know when you get like delirious and when you have a fever, I started thinking like, because I was in bed like watching like his music videos for inspiration because I was so sick. And then when I had the fever, I was like, why don't I just write a song about him? And then I was like, okay, as soon as I feel better, I'm gonna go to the computer and do it. It was like a delirious idea.
Okay.
And then as soon as I felt better, I wrote it down and I was like, this is kind of hard. Like, this is like sick. Or am I nuts? I can't tell, but
sometimes we can't tell if we're crazy or if the shit's really hot.
Right?
But
I think it's
just roll with
both.
it. Yeah.
And that's the magic when it's like, this is what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
But also like, yes, you know? And so I just went with it.
Yeah.
And also, to be honest, like my biggest dream as an artist is to collaborate with him one day or open for him on tour.
Yeah.
Both, all of the above.
Yeah,
like he's like top of my list
Yeah.
in terms of dream artists
Yeah.
to work with.
Yeah.
And I kind of was like, I want to put this out there because hopefully he will see it and know that I exist. And that could be step one to my dream. And then he replied to it on Twitter.
And I was just about to say, and he actually did, end up seeing it.
He did. I died.
Yeah.
When that happened, I like looked at the notification. I was like, what's that? Like fell on the floor. I was like, oh my God. He actually answered me back. It was crazy. And he said he was going to come to my show at the Viper Room, which I was just like, I would have shat my pants.
Yeah.
I would have died.
But seriously though, if you are standing on stage and then you look up and then you see Machine Gun Kelly in the audience,
I would die. I would fall. I would faint, and like I would shit. I would shit my pants. Or I would pull it together. I don't know. We'll see what. I still think that could happen one day.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, it's out in the world now, so like we'll see.
Yeah.
But I believe in timing, so I'm actually feeling like it'll happen when I'm like really ready to kill it, and I'm not as, you know, anxious.
Yeah,
I'm working on that.
that is a great point because I felt like I feel like that too, and there's definitely been times where I've thought, man, I wish I would have gotten this gig, or you get turned down for one gig or another, or something, and I'm like, man, I wish I would have gotten that, but then I get it later. And it's like, oh, I'm better now. I wasn't ready for that particular gig, that particular stage in that moment. Yeah. And it came when I was ready for it.
Every time. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. It always works that way. It's like, it sounds cheesy, but like it works. Yeah. When you remember like, oh, like I actually don't think I could have handled that then. Yeah. You really wanted it. Yeah. But timing it's a real thing. Yeah. Totally agree.
And so now my thing is basically I'm more focused on me and more focused on practicing and becoming the best me instead of so much worrying about, oh, I got to try to get this gig or try to get that gig or try to get, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like I'm more worried about being the best singer I can be, being the best keys player I can be.
Yes.
And then I feel like if I then, take the increased skills out into the world with the gigs I've been doing, then the things will start to come that I've been wanting,
Totally, yes. So, do you believe in like law of attraction and manifestation and all that? Yeah, it's real. It's like, because you're going to have that confidence and then it will come to you. Yeah. So I think that's the right thing.
Yeah. Okay, so you had the song in a moment of delirium. You had the idea to write the Machine Gun Kelly song. Yeah. You write the song. And what went into the making of the music video for that one?
Yeah. So the music video, I knew I wanted to do a video for that because, like, it would add to the chance of the song kind of being talked about or like getting out there, and also him seeing it. Yes. Hopefully, that was what I wanted. Yes. So I came up with the idea, and I was like, how could I do this and like have him in it, but like not because he doesn't know who I am. And I was like, I could get a cardboard cutout. And everyone was like, what? Okay, like that's gonna be fucking weird, bro. But I just knew that it would be right on the line of like cringe, but not, because I could do it in the right way. And so I got those online. It was really funny. They're just like two huge cardboard versions of MGK like in my living room that whole week, and I was like, this is fucking weird. My cat was like, what? So I got that, and then like, you know, did some like online stuff for the locations. I knew I wanted a few different kind of scene setups, and you know, Peerspace is really helpful for that, right? For like indie artists, there's a lot of affordable stuff. So I did that, but it was another one where I kind of like, I'll listen to the song a few times and the vision will just come, and then it's like edited in my head, like based on, once I see the locations, I'll actually Photoshop the wardrobe and the scene and like myself in the scene, so that I can like then sit there and picture like the edits and the colors and the
So you'll take the pictures off this Peerspace or whatever, and then Photoshop yourself into it to get an idea of how it might look, and it kind of helps you already kind of have an idea of the editing.
Exactly. And wardrobe too, it really helps because I like to do things that are kind of like color coded, and like this one I knew like the fashion was important because his fashion is fucking epic. And so I was like, I want to bring that element into this, because the whole idea for me was like celebrating being a fan. Because too many artists I think feel like they're too cool to like to like be a fan. But I'm like a fan first. Like that's why I'm an artist. It's because these people like give me life with their music, and I want to give that. So I'm like fan and artist. It's like together, you know? So I wanted to celebrate like his inspiration on me.
Okay, so you do the video, you have the cardboard cutouts. Let's go back to, you mentioned he responded to you. What did he say exactly?
Okay, so he said, I think it's like something like, I should have it memorized by now. I've looked at it so many times. It's something like, I just wanted to say, I'm so flattered by this song, and I was gonna pull up to your Viper Room show and surprise you. But he had to go like to one of his daughter's volleyball games back in Ohio or whatever. I was like, that's a really great reason to miss it. That's all good, you know? But the fact that it made me feel like he knew about my show, because I was tagging him and everything. I've been tagging him in like everything on Twitter. And he was planning on going. Like, that's crazy to me. That's very meaningful.
100%.
Because he is like, I'm sure you have a list of the people that have inspired you as an artist and got you to where you are.
Sure.
And like, is there one at the top where you're like, that, if I could pick any artist on the planet to collaborate with, it's him. Hands down, that's the person for me.
I mean, so that is Machine Gun Kelly for you.
Yes.
I guess for me, there's so many, it's hard to say, oh, this one.
Totally. I have a list.
There's
a list, but he's at the top.
Yeah, I got you.
Is there anyone for you?
Because, well, the thing is I feel like I pull from so many different genres and
like,
places.
Can you name one, if you could name one?
I mean, there's several. I mean, I feel like even going back to Stevie Wonder and Ray Charles.
How did I know you were gonna say that?
And I mean, I definitely dig the 60s, 70s, like the Motown, like all that kind of stuff. I definitely pull a lot of inspiration from that. But then even going, coming back this way to like, Brian McKnight's and people like that. And then like, so there's definitely some inspiration there, but then there's inspiration from rap guys like, Jay-Z and Lil Wayne, and then even
Lil
like,
Wayne,
and Drake and Kendrick.
Drake, for sure, all
you know what I mean? So there's inspiration from a lot of different, places. There's and then inspiration now from, people like John Legend even, and I know
there's so many. There's
it's just like
ones.
There's I feel like you could probably pick up a little bit of all of those people in things that I do musically.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's what's so cool, because I feel like we can form like our own thing with little bits of people that inspire us, and then you kind of have a blend of them, but it's still you. I think that's like when the magic happens.
Absolutely. So that was super cool though, that he said that he was gonna possibly come, or that he thought. No, and I think one thing that was really cool that you said is that you tagged him in everything. Yeah. And I think a lot of times we might get scared. I think we get scared to do stuff like that. We get scared to tag the person that you know we look up to. We get scared to, you know what I mean?
For
Like,
sure,
oh, I
yeah.
don't want to be
I'm cringing, or I don't want to be. I don't want to bother them, or I don't want to be like too much of a fan.
Yeah.
My whole Twitter feed since I released that song is like pretty much 80% of the tweets I've sent out are tagging him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I know I'm like looking insane, but you just kind of have to cross that line a little, especially if you're trying to connect with someone that has such a massive fan base. Like his fans live for him. I feel like since I released that, I've been connected to a lot of his fans because they've come and like, you know, told me they love the song. So it's almost like I got to see what it was like to be inside someone's fandom, and they're like ride or die. Like their whole thing is just like reposting his stuff and like all day. So he's getting like hundreds of thousands of things every day. So if you want to connect with someone that's on that level, you kind of have to be like 10 times more than you would be to try to get one thing that they might see. Yeah. So I was just like, fuck it. I'm going to look like insane, but we're going to do it.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love that. I think as a musician in general, if more of us adopted that, you know, fuck it, I'm just gonna do it kind of attitude, then I feel like we would get farther. Yeah.
Totally. I think you have to have something that is crazy enough to make you do it. And that was this for me. Like something happened to me when I discovered his story. It was like just this like I'm like in awe of. I don't know if you've seen his documentary. No. You should watch it. Okay. It's just like you see what he built. He's so successful. And when you see the beginning, like 2008, and he's like rapping in a basement, like with his producer, who's still his producer now, like it's just mind blowing. And that type of thing makes me be like, I want that. It's not just the music, you know, it's like more than that. And it drives me to like, I want to be that. I want to be like that. Yeah. You know? Yeah. I'm getting so like Hallmark card right now. But it's true.
No, it's great. It's great. No, like you totally have to, you know, like you said, you have to kind of have a little bit of that fuck it kind of attitude and just and go for it.
Yeah, it's scary though. Like
it is.
It's definitely scary. I'm somebody that has like a lot of anxiety, and I have to push that out the way every day. Yeah. But
yeah. You
gotta do it.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, definitely got to push that anxiety out the way in terms of like how much you're posting about a song, tagging the person that you know you look up to, or tagging people, and you know all of that. You kind of got to push it out the way and just say fucking and do it.
Yes, because how great would it be if the thing that you want happens, right? Because you crossed that line and went like a little crazy with it.
I mean, the fact that he's aware of you. That, you know what I mean? Like that, whether he came to the show or not, he is aware of you now.
It's kind of crazy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he still may pull up to something in it. You know what I mean? Like
I would still die,
that possibility is still there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the fact that he is aware is crazy, and it's great, and it's all because you weren't afraid to just.
That's such a good point. It's such a good point. It's crazy because I feel like I have these huge dreams that I'm very afraid of. And people say that like, you know, if you're scared of it, that's when you should do it. Yeah. But it is terrifying to like playing on stage for me is like panic attack the entire time. Yeah. And you just have to push through because what I want will be worth it when I get there. And like I'm trying to manifest collaborating with him and like opening for him on tour. And I'm going to have to like be very confident to do that. Yeah. I can't be like scared of it or secretly be scared of it and do it anyway. You know what I mean? Like those things terrify me. And like when I'm in the middle of a panic attack, which is like often these days, I'm like, oh, I can't do anything. I'm just going to go work at a grocery store. I'm going to give everything up. Like I can't do it. You know what I mean? It's too scary. I can't do it. I can't leave my house. But then you have to like realize if you just get over that, that's what's waiting, and it will be better than you could ever imagine. Yes. Oh my God, I'm literally like spitting out quotes right now.
I love it. No, I love it. This is what's gonna go on the Instagram clips. Like, okay, cool. So it's great. Okay, so let's talk about Spotify too, because you mentioned Lighthouse earlier. Yeah. So that song has 300,000 plus streams. Yeah. Which is awesome. I love the kind of the effect that you have. That's kind of like the voice. With the effect, the vocoder kind of doubling you, kind of your vocal.
Thank you so much.
That's super cool. So was there anything in terms of promoting on Spotify with that song that kind of helped you get, those numbers?
Yeah. First of all, that was produced by Nine Theory. Shout out. He's really dope. Okay. He's like the first person I ever worked with that really got me like professional sounding music, and I learned everything from him and was able to then go and try it myself after that. So he taught me a lot. He's so great. So the whole vocoder thing is him. He fucking killed it. But yeah, so with that one, that was my first like official single, because I deleted all the stuff I had before that, which was like really horrible, like homemade sounding shit. So deleted all that. And then that one, I was like, okay, this is gonna be my first attempt with marketing on Spotify. And a friend of mine, at the time, Facebook ads, like Meta ads, was just starting with the stories, like the Instagram stories. And a friend of mine knew about it already and was like, I'm gonna help you out with this, and help me set it up. And at the time, that worked so well for so cheap. So it was like 0.0 something cents per click.
Wow.
And so I was spending $5 a day. That's what they say to start with.
Right. Yep.
And it ended up getting 10,000 streams in 28 days, which I've learned is what the algorithm needs to push to Discover Weekly. So that happened, and I literally paid $5 a day for a month. So it's like $150.
Wow.
Not even. It's so cheap.
Yeah.
And then that happened. Discover Weekly picked it up, and the people just listened.
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
did really well on its own. That was my first experience of something just doing well because people were like repeat streaming, adding to their playlists, and it just took off.
Yeah.
And since then, I haven't found that same like trigger as much. And maybe that song just resonated with people more than the stuff I've done now. Like, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But it was very easy, that one.
Yeah.
But it was also like 5-6 years ago now.
Yeah.
Now there's like thousands more, or like hundreds of thousands more people using this.
Right.
So the cost goes way more up, way higher for the amount of people that are going to click. So if you spend $5 a day now, it gets like a tenth of what you would have gotten before. So it's not as much going to trigger. So you probably have to spend a lot more money is what I'm learning, which most of us indie artists don't have a massive budget. Once we get done with creating and doing a visual, then what's left for the, which we probably need to figure that out. But anyway, so that's what happened. It was really like, I didn't have to do much.
Yeah.
So I was lucky with that.
Awesome.
Which is cool.
Yeah. So one thing I was talking with Roberto Horns again about in our episode was, getting, if you couldn't get the algorithm to sort of trigger, then it'll push it out to a lot more people. So it's about initially kind of getting those initial streams.
Exactly.
And then it'll kind of help, it'll carry it for you essentially.
Yes, because the people will decide. That's what I've learned. Like, you can think a song, you're like, this is the one. I put a song out called Broken Record in the summer that I've been keeping for like 4 years because I was like, I feel like this is a hit. It's like a party song. People are going to love it. And like, I was like waiting to do it. And then I put it out, and I had this whole strategy with Facebook ads, and I tried it, and it flopped. Like, people were just not clicking on it. And I'm like, maybe because it doesn't have really like a genre. It's kind of like a weird blend. I don't know, but it just, the people didn't respond. Maybe it'll do well later in life. I don't know. But like, you just never know what people, it's up to them is what I've learned. So you can do whatever you can to trigger the algorithm, but then they're going to listen and they're going to like it or not.
Yeah.
So it's almost like you have to test some things out.
Yeah.
But you just never know what people are going to like.
Yeah.
But that being said, I do feel like when there's enough money put behind a song, it becomes a hit with major labels. Like, they're like, $5 million budget.
Yeah.
It's going to be a hit.
You can,
So
Sure.
goes both ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we don't have, the $5 million, honestly.
Yep.
But
Yep.
I do think it is worth leaving yourself that $150 to at least initially kind of get it started and see if this song can go somewhere. Because I feel like you alluded to it earlier. By the time we record and we mix and we master and then we shoot content, and then we don't have anything to actually market all the stuff that we so all the stuff that we produce. So leaving ourselves a little marketing money, I think would be a good idea. Is beneficial.
Totally. I think that's been my problem throughout all the years. Like, all I cared about was like the passion of the creation and putting all the money to make it as good as it can be. And then I had no money to push the song. Now I'm like, okay, I can't do that anymore. I actually think that we should be doing it the other way, where you have the biggest part of the budget is for the marketing.
Yeah.
But most of us don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Because we want the song. It is expensive to make a song
is.
be dope. Like right now, I've actually been recording vocals with a producer in a studio at East West, and it's like a world of difference compared to me alone in my room.
Right.
But that's like
Right.
a budget, like that.
Right.
I'm putting all the money into that,
Right.
and so, that's. I have to really strategize with like this budget that I have right now. How much do I leave? I want people to hear it.
Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah.
But that's the key. You mentioned strategize. You have to think about it, strategize it,
Yeah.
and say, okay, I need to leave myself at least something
Yeah.
to try and market,
Yes.
to,
Yeah.
So yeah.
At least something for sure. A minimum of like a few $100s, I
Yeah,
would say.
yeah.
But if you really want it to do better on Spotify, I would say more like 1,000.
Yeah.
From what I've seen. But I've tried like literally every different type of Spotify marketing thing under the sun. Like people people on Fiverr being like, can get organic streams. And it's
Yeah.
like probably not at
Yeah,
all. Or like,
yeah.
like just all these different things. And the
Yeah.
only one for me that in terms of spending money that actually
Yeah.
works is probably the meta ads.
Yeah.
Don't work for them.
Yeah.
Because that just seems like you're getting real people in their headphones. And
Right.
that's what we want. It's
Right.
way more expensive than just going to some dude who's going to like up the streams.
Yeah.
But that's not real people. I don't
It's-
want bots listening to my music.
Yeah.
That's not why I'm
Fuck
doing
bots.
it. Fuck
Yeah.
bots.
Yeah.
Fuck bots, bro. Like,
Yeah.
no. I'd rather have like 10 real comments than like 60 like fake ass like love
Yeah.
this song emoji comments.
Yeah.
Like fuck that.
Yeah.
So
And then people are also getting their songs taken down from fake
yep.
streams
Yeah.
and things like that. So Spotify and then distributors are cracking down on that.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
people definitely need to be aware of what they're doing to try to get those streams.
Yep.
So
It is hard because it's like I think we're all aware how the brain works with music, and like if you see that something has a lot of streams, you kind of like, oh, this must be good, or
Yeah.
views, right?
Yeah,
so then
yeah.
we think, oh, maybe if I just buy a bunch of views and do this,
Yeah.
then people will think it's good.
right.
But in the end,
It doesn't.
just doesn't fucking. You don't want
Yeah.
fake views are obvious.
Yeah.
Nobody wants that shit. It's whack as
Yeah,
fuck.
yeah.
Right?
At the end of the day, because I've in the past I've tried different things.
I think we
and-
all have for
yeah,
sure.
and
Yeah.
at the end of the day, the fake views, the fake streams, they don't do anything.
No, and it makes you feel like a loser.
yeah.
I'm like, there's lots of people on a fucking click farm. Like that's not why I'm not making music for that. That's not why I'm making music.
Right.
I don't give a shit
So-
about the numbers. I mean, I do.
Right.
But I'd rather have real people.
Right, exactly.
I want the real people.
Exactly. I'd rather have 10 real listeners, fans
Yes.
than,
Yeah.
10,000 fake
Yes,
whatever, because at the end of
totally.
the day it doesn't
Yeah.
mean shit.
Yeah, I heard someone say this the other day, and it really made a difference for me. Like, right now I have like 1,500 monthly listeners on Spotify without really doing any promo or whatever, which, in the world of music, it's like, oh, that's so low. But if you think about it, if there's 1,500 people in a room listening to you that are actually listening, that's pretty fucking good.
Yes.
Right?
I was talking to
So-
somebody about that too, how I'm trying to rethink how I look at Instagram views, or like a view on an Instagram reel or a TikTok video or whatever.
Yeah.
Because if we have 500 people, 100 people, 200 people, whatever, in a room listening to us, then it's like, okay, that's dope. There's 100 people listening. But if I get 100 views on a reel or something, I'm like,
Same. I'm like,
you
oh,
know,
this sucks.
yeah, fuck this. Or a TikTok video, it's like, fuck, But like 100, like if you get 100 people that watch something, like that's still cool. So I'm just trying to rethink, kind of how I think about things and how I think about negative versus positive in terms of those views.
Yeah.
Now you always want to analyze and say, okay, what worked, what didn't work as well, so I can focus on these things over here and do more of that. And obviously you want to get more of the numbers, but
Yes.
100 views is not a failure.
It's not. It's
Yeah.
not. I think that's a really good point for people, especially starting out or whatever, or even if you had something do well and now it's going back down. Like, it's not a fail because you made some dope shit and you liked it, and people will find it. You just have to keep going. One of my favorite people, this is like a random side note thing, but I feel like everybody should watch the movie Naiad. If you haven't heard about this woman named Diana Naiad,
Yeah,
I'm reading her book right now.
Okay.
She's a woman who swam from Cuba to Florida.
Yep.
In her 60s, and it's like everyone thought it was impossible, like she couldn't do it, and she's just like the most determined human being I've ever heard of in my life. If you see what she went through to get there, the point is, like, I realized when I watched that movie that like success is just that you keep going.
Yeah.
You just keep going.
Yeah.
You will make it. It might not be when you want, but you will. If you just never give up, like it's on the other side.
Yeah.
And you might get a Grammy at 40, but like, would you be sad that you got a Grammy at 40?
Yeah,
or would
no.
you be sad that at 35, you're like, guess I'm too old. I'm going to go fucking work at a grocery store. Like, which
Yeah.
one is better?
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
But as in the music industry, they try to make us feel like we're too old, especially as women. It's like, oh, you're 35, you're like done. But it's bullshit because we have so much to say at that point. And I'm 35, so I guess I'm saying that. But it's like, you know, sometimes I think like, oh my God, like I'm old, and because of what society makes us think.
Sure,
But then
sure.
you have to push that out of the way, because the next 10 years I could make the best stuff of my career and people could finally find it. I could find success at 39. Would I be happy that I didn't give up? You know, I'd rather be at 35, but like, you know, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yes, rather at 35. But if it comes at 39, then
Like Jelly Roll. Did you see? I don't know if you listen to Jelly Roll.
I know who it is.
I'm obsessed with him. He's so dope. His story too, so inspiring. But he got nominated as Best New Artist at 39.
Wow.
And that's just like, fuck yes.
Wow.
Like when I saw that, I was like,
Yeah, I didn't realize he was 39.
yeah, I'm like, this is amazing. Like I got time. We all got time.
Yeah,
All of
yeah.
it is bullshit. Just fucking, who cares?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, just keep going.
Totally.
You know, because you never know. You never know when something could happen.
Yeah.
And so that's another thing, you know, I was kind of talking about it earlier, but I'm just kind of focusing on, okay, make me the best me.
Yes.
You know, and so I'm like, you know, singing lessons, keys lessons.
Love that.
Even though, you know, it's like I've been doing these things for years, but you can always elevate and always try to figure out, okay, what can I, you know, improve on?
Yeah.
And, you know, so now I'm like, okay, really, let me fine tune and, you know, really try to step my game up so that I can be the best possible. And then so that what I'm putting out is a better quality product.
Totally.
You know?
Yes.
And then, you know, hopefully things come from that
It will.
elevation of my,
Yeah.
you know, own skills. You
It
know?
definitely will. I feel like that's how it works. You know,
Yeah.
you just keep leveling up, and then eventually you attract what it is that you want. So, hell yeah, killing it.
All right. You're from Canada, correct?
I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How is that? I know a lot of musicians have their, you know, stories and challenges with like coming from somewhere else and then, you know, pursuing music here and things like that. Like, how has that whole experience been?
Yeah. No, it's been crazy. Because I'm from like near Niagara Falls, like outside of Toronto area. Everyone's always like, "Are you a Drake fan?" Hell yeah, Justin Bieber. Okay. But anyway, yeah, I moved here in 2008. I was like 18. I'm like trying to do the math. And I didn't have a work visa.
Okay.
So I was not able to work, and I just was like training as a dancer, taking classes. Eventually I got a work visa and I started teaching.
Got it.
But that process is really hard, especially as an artist. You have to prove that you're going to work. But at that point, usually you don't have any, you have to get the opportunities to prove that you're going to work. But at that point, you're just starting out and like no one knows who you are. So I had to grind it out for a while to get a bunch of connections in the dance world. And then eventually I was given a work visa. I'm very lucky. And then I renewed that like for like 12 years.
Okay.
So right now I'm in the process of switching it to music because the last few years I've been gradually just moving out of dance into music.
Right.
I'm still going to dance and I'm still probably going to teach one day again or like choreograph.
Yeah.
But music has always really been the dream.
Yeah.
So I have to shift it from dance to music. But in order to get a work visa in music, the easiest one's probably like booking a tour, because then you have consistent work.
Right.
So I'm in the process of that right now. Okay. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean, I've been in LA for 16 years now, so I feel like I'm almost from here, but I'm not, you know what I mean? Like I'm like part LA, but I'll always be Canadian for sure. Right. Shout out Canada. I miss it. I do miss it. I love going home.
Yeah.
It's amazing over there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Juliette, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for
I
having me.
appreciate you. It's been a fantastic conversation.
Yeah, it's been so good. I hope I didn't ramble too much.
No, you were great. Absolutely not.
Okay.
You were perfect.
Okay,
so
cool.
thank you
for
so
having
much.
me.
Oh yeah, of course.
So dope.
Anytime.
Hell
All
yeah.
right. Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Broadway, the host. If you got something out of the episode, definitely go ahead and hit the like button. Also, subscribe and turn on the notifications so you can get notified whenever we drop new episodes. If there was something specific that you learned or found interesting, put that in the comments. Also, if there was something that you thought you were going to learn more about, wanted to hear more about, and you didn't, put that in the comments as well. We can use that to make these episodes better going forward. Thank you again for checking out They're Good at That Shit.